Always by my very handsome co-host, John Lou Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
What up, dude?
Coop,
Good morning.
is that an owl on your shirt?
Dude, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. It is, Simon. Yes.
Wow. A beer making owl?
After technical difficulties this morning, we just talked about owls for like 5 minutes. We're like, wait a second, is this thing even live? Are we live now? Is this fixed or does anyone
We're live, guys. We are so live right now.
Right.
What happens if I take my shirt off?
Then I think we're good to go. I think that honestly makes it a little bit more exciting.
Live. That means we're live. Let's go.
When JL's shirt is off, that means we are live. Guys, I'm sorry you missed out on that owl conversation. If you're jumping in now, we're not going to redo it. We got Craig in the chat saying y'all starting late. Scared me there. Our apologies for that, but we're getting right into it. Craig, thanks for joining us this morning.
I'll
tell you what, dude, we started on time, man. It really shows you how long 5 minutes in, because we were talking about owls, we were talking about Drake,
we had like 6
beer,
topics.
carpentry, right? Like we're
a true crime documentary series and associated theories, and us giving our opinions on which theory we thought was the most accurate.
There was time for all of that. They're not lying.
Yeah,
man, how do we talk for 3 hours every day is what I'm wondering. If we down to the 5 minutes. I got so much to say, apparently.
JL's out here defending murderers, dude. It's 7:04 in the morning, dude. He's like, I'm pretty sure
Who's out here falsely incriminating people?
Yeah, just everybody
out here putting people in prison for circumstantial evidence.
Everybody that hangs out with Michael,
we don't need the justice system.
Everybody that Michael Peterson meets falls down the stairs and dies, and JL's like, what if it was an owl though?
We got Tommy in the chat ready for today's show. He says, yo, is it time for the show? Indeed it is. We are here and ready to go.
See, Maria in the chat said it was an owl without a doubt.
No
this
chance,
is
dude.
Pray to God you do not get Coop on your jury, because he's going to be like guilty immediately. Does not matter what it is.
You guys got sold, dude. You guys like the one woman on the jury that looks like Professor Trelawney, and she's just like outside her mind, and she's like, well, I kind of believe the thing about the owl. It's like, dude, no, there was no owl. Yeah.
You're right. Animals don't attack humans.
Yeah.
You guys ever listen to the True Crime podcast series? It was like the biggest one in the world, but Serial, the one about Adnan Syed.
Yeah,
did you guys see that he got released recently?
No, I did not see that.
So he was out, after like so many years in prison.
No, but I mean, come on. We're letting murderers out now, Coop? What are you doing, buddy?
I actually think,
what are you doing?
Well, he's innocent.
Oh, okay.
I don't defend all murderers, just obvious ones, like Michael Peterson.
Yeah, come on, JL.
Adnan Syed is, I don't know. I was less convinced of his innocence. Actually, my old company did a retreat in that park where they found that poor woman's body.
Because of that, or in spite of that?
In spite of that? I don't think it had to do with that.
Okay,
it's a nice park.
I was asking, like, did you guys go as like fans to like
no.
like
we did like
crime fans that like make a spectacle out of that stuff?
You guys probably don't know what this is. Like, have you guys ever heard of Outward Bounds?
It's when a guy with the football steps past the line on the side.
Close.
That's like the one. That's the one with the cats and the dogs, and they're lost.
Trust building exercise that you can go as a company. You can go and do this. It's called Outward Bounds. That's what we did. Did a bunch of like trust fall type things.
That's the movie with the cats and the dogs, and they get lost, and one of them like gets stuck by the porcupine.
Exactly.
Where's that Homeward Bound?
It's Milo and Otis.
Milo.
The sequel.
It's the sequel. Yeah. So that sounds nice.
How does that fit into the Wallace and Gromit? The
doesn't.
Same universe? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I always thought those were in the same universe, but
I believe in both timelines. The moon is made of cheese.
Well, Coop, duh. We don't have to like bring up obvious points. We're all on the same page there, guys. Yesterday, we had some crazy stuff go down. Not just in that game, big moves in the NFL. First, let's start with the sad stuff. Let's get it out of the way. Breece Hall officially, we feared it yesterday. We talked it wasn't looking this good, but officially has torn his ACL. So his promising rookie season is over. This coming from Ian Rappaport. He also had a meniscus injury on top of that. So for the people saying maybe it's a meniscus injury, well, it was, but it was also an ACL tear. So
the the glass half full people were like, well, maybe his meniscus is torn, and it turned out that the glass was just completely empty and everything is hurt. So
the glass was shattered on the ground.
Yeah,
honestly, super sad. Super sad. He was on his way to probably a rookie of the year performance. Do you guys think there's any chance being injured after week 7, he could still win rookie of the year? Does that ever happen? Like with his performance that we saw, or is it going to take dropping the ball from everybody else?
Yeah, everyone would have to drop the ball, but Kenneth Walker's playing good enough that like you can't really Kenneth Walker's right there.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And it wasn't like he had a good start to the season, but it wasn't like so good that they'd give it to him anyway.
I saw FanDuel yesterday put out a tweet. I think DraftKings did the same thing, but where they refunded all futures with Breece Hall on them, like or for rookie of the year, they refunded futures, individual entries with Breece Hall as offensive rookie of the year, something like that. And the comments or the replies were the most predictable thing you could ever imagine.
People complaining about other players.
Exactly. You click on it, it's immediately like, yeah, well, what about Amon-Ra St. Brown this weekend? Like immediately was just like, well, no, like, oh, great. It was just like, you give them an inch. Like if you guys want sportsbooks to never refund your entries, keep doing that. Right. You know what I mean? That is a good way, because then they're going to go, we can't do that, because then people start expecting it for everything, and they're going to be rude when we don't. Like, accept the freebies, guys.
Hey, guess what? You lost. Yeah. You lost. Get over it. Right. You put your money down and you lost.
Yeah,
bye. It's the end of it.
It's crazy that they're giving
mad at people for not giving you your money back.
Yeah, but it's like I think the real scary thing is that these sportsbooks are like, no, it's okay. Keep gambling. Here, we'll give you one. We'll give you a free one. It's like that's like what drug dealers do. They're like, here's one on the house, and then next thing you know. So be careful with that.
Yesterday night, as I was scrolling TikTok, this video came up. It had like 200 likes. I don't know. Sometimes I get these random videos. I'm trying to go to bed, and then this guy shows up on my screen, and he goes, "Today, I lost at the casino, but tomorrow I win." And then the video cut off, and I was just like, I can't support this. Like, I cannot like this video, even though I'm digging the vibes. Like, I'm just not going to support him.
You got to gamble responsibly. You got to gamble when you have real data, when you have a real hunch. Don't just bet just to bet. That's the rule of thumb for me.
Or if you do it with the amount of money that you're totally comfortable losing. Consider it an
entertainment value.
Right. There we go. Guys, on that same note, with Breece Hall going down injured for the year, JL, you want to break this one?
James Robinson traded to the traded away. Travis Etienne season, baby. Let's go.
So I was like, I don't even care where he was traded to. It's just a way.
It doesn't matter. It's not a James Robinson story. This is a Travis Etienne story.
Cue the George Michael freedom. Cue it up, dude.
Yes. Wheels up, Travis Etienne. Thank God. Only been waiting forever.
Man, it really didn't look like week 1, week 2. It really did not look like this was going to be the case, right? That Travis Etienne, without injury, would have this backfield to himself. Like, I was with you, JL. I was still believing, but it looked like, oh shoot, we just completely whiffed on James Robinson, and now here we are looking at a Travis Etienne backfield. I mean, who else is there? Is there anyone who's going to take significant carries from him?
No. This is Travis Etienne's backfield. And man, just watching them use him last week, he's electric. He's a high-end RB2 for me rest of season with RB1 upside.
Man, Joe, you used the word electric perfectly right there. And I've found myself wanting to use it more, but I got to be careful with it because it's such a good word to describe a player or a play. And if you overuse it, it's going to lose that zing. But Travis Etienne, freaking electric. Like when he's out there on the field, it's clear that he was clearly the best running back on that team. And now he's the only running back besides Snoop Connor.
As of late, I've only been using electric, like sarcastically. So I'll be like, people be like, oh, should we start Tyler Conklin in my fantasy leagues? And I'd be like, yeah, dude, Tyler Conklin. If you're in a league that gives you points for blocking on pass plays, Tyler Conklin's been electric. Like I try to save it for instances like that.
It's got power, whichever way you use it. Yeah. Now, with Travis Etienne being alone here, what's the upside? What are we looking at? Is he an RB1 rest of season, JL?
Yeah, I said RB1 up. I said high-end RB2 most likely with RB1 upside rest of season.
Coop, you agree? You think that's the case for Mr. Etienne?
I say at this very moment that is the case. let's just see, what the split is like. But, when these teams trade guys away, they're not usually one to go out and sign or trade for a player themselves and give that guy a lot of work. And like JL said, they don't really have anybody on the roster that commands that kind of work. So I think it's wheels up time, baby. Let's go.
Hogs
Let's go.
up. Hogs. Travis Etienne or Dameon Pierce rest of season?
Travis Etienne. He's in a better offense, better pass catcher. There's no Rex Burkhead lurking around playing on pass plays.
The Burke lurk.
Etienne or Kenneth Walker rest of season?
Ooh. Even. That's even for me.
That's pretty close. Pretty close.
I might slightly lean Kenneth Walker, but that's tough. I don't know.
Yeah, I figured Dameon Pierce, you guys would all say ETN, but then I was thinking, man, there's another rookie that has that backfield, has that starting job for another team.
I saw some numeros that suggest that Kenneth Walker on that monster run that he really didn't need to or shouldn't have done because they were trying to run the clock out, but it was still way cooler that he scored. On that play, he recorded the fastest on-field speed of any player this season. Really?
Faster than Daniel Jones in that one play where where his torso outran his legs?
Where he was going so fast. No, I think that one didn't even register. That's the problem. He crossed the speed of light. He crossed the sound barrier and that's what tripped him up, dude. The explosion.
So loud. Just absolutely devastatingly loud. And that's
tech hasn't caught up yet. It's just
we aren't there.
Impossible to measure. Society. Impossible to measure that play, but so that's probably the fastest. That's probably the fastest play. And then Kenneth Walker's run was second fastest. But I mean, when you think about some of the guys in this league, I mean, just the Dolphins players like Mostert and Tyreek Hill, like the fact that Kenneth Walker could have the fastest speed, that's exciting, especially because he had 168 yards. But he didn't catch any passes. So that's a little bit to me.
That might make you lean towards Mr. Etienne.
It might. But
it might.
Yeah, but probably not. Kenneth Walker's awesome.
And Z Money taking the two players that we just compared ETN to instead start Kenneth Walker or Dameon Pierce. It's Kenneth Walker for me.
You can't not start Kenneth. Dude, I can't even imagine a situation where I'm starting people over Kenneth Walker. He's got to be up there with unless you have Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, then maybe you can bench Kenneth Walker. But right now you just can't.
Jordan Loop said Travis Etienne or Travis Homer.
Ooh, that's tough. Dude.
Tough.
Close.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's Travis Etienne.
Did you mention this one? Adam in here. Good morning, Adam. Says so pissed at the pass defense. Lost by 2 points because they couldn't stop freaking nosebleed from the Bears. The Pats defense, not pass. Okay, that makes sense.
If that was a nosebleed, then that was one hell of a nosebleed.
That was a big old nosebleed.
Yeah, it was bloody. Bloody Monday.
Bloody Monday. Did you guys see the Browns are listening to offers on running back Kareem Hunt, according to League Source? It's kind of interesting. Where do you think he'll go?
I don't know, dude. All of a sudden, these teams are just like, we have too many good running backs. Let's move them, dude. Like that to me, that's if you're competing right now, that's a scary move. I know maybe they decided they aren't going to pay him and they want to get something for him now, but I don't know, man. I don't know why you would trade that guy.
Well, and are the Browns competing? Like they're 2-5 going into this week.
In that division.
What'd you say? Yeah,
in that division.
Maybe they're just saying like, okay, we're not competing. Let's get what we can for Kareem Hunt right now. Like it doesn't matter that Deshaun Watson's coming in week 11. We started 2-5. Jacoby didn't get done what we needed to get done. This team's defense has looked worse than we thought it was going to. Let's phone it in and get some draft picks if we can. What did the Jets trade for James Robinson? Did you guys see
it's a 6th-round pick that with playing time incentives could become a 5th. So like if James Robinson goes there and beats out Michael Carter, essentially, then it's a 5th-round pick.
Okay, but it's a 6th with the conditional 5th or whatever.
I think that's phrased. Usually the way those are set up is that if he makes an impact at all, it should be a 5th.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know where he would end up, JL. Maybe the Falcons is a place where he could end up. Maybe the
Jaguars.
Can you imagine?
How mad would you be, dude?
I would flip my table.
Yeah.
I would just flip the table and never come back on the show.
Soup everywhere.
all over
the difficulty in trading running backs a lot of times is that you have to get back more than you would get. Like if you like, so the way the compensatory picks work is that if you let a guy leave as a free agent and then you don't sign any incoming free agents, then they give you a compensatory pick. So like, and it's based on other players of your position. So the Jaguars must have thought that no one would sign James Robinson, or they have plans to sign players on their own to trade a guy like that. Same with Kareem Hunt. It's like, if you're not getting a fourth or a fifth back for him, if you just wait and let him leave, you're going to get a fourth or a fifth back as a comp pick anyway. That's the problem a lot of times. It's the same reason your Ravens jail don't trade Tyler Huntley. Because if you trade Tyler Huntley, then it's like someone's going to sign him next year anyway. So you're going to get like a fourth or fifth back anyway. So that's what makes it so hard to trade guys like that.
And Jordan down here saying something similar, saying Jaguars playing dynasty, pick Robinson off waivers and flip them for late picks, rinse and repeat while you rebuild for the next 10 years.
10 years.
Classic dynasty owner move right there. Always playing for the future.
So much value though, Loop. Just forget winning the league. Just think of the value.
Also, our boy Z Money in here saying he's 4-3 on a 4-game win streak.
Let's go.
Boy, is that the best feeling 4-3 in week 7. When you start 0-3 and then go on a tear, like that's about as good as you can feel at 4-3. Nice job.
That's legendary stuff. I tweeted it the other day. I was like, if you're 0-6 in your fantasy league, you should be pumped, bro, because you get the chance to get all the glory. If you're 0-7, you're kind of in huge trouble. But if you're 0-6, man, you get a chance to have the most glorious comeback where you run the table, win everything, be an absolute beast. That's up there with like winning the league with most, going undefeated, legendary stuff. Winning the league with most points for and points against, legendary stuff. Coming back from 0-6 to win the league, running the table, legendary stuff. So you only get so many opportunities.
Tie and fractional scoring.
Getting a fractional scoring tie on a correction on an IDP half tackle to a solo tackle. That's
all I need.
Very
legendary,
cool. Especially when you were winning. Especially when you were winning. So
I don't even care.
You didn't even get bumped up to the tie. You got downgraded to a tie.
No, he got bumped up to the tie.
He got bumped up.
We elevated to the tie.
You guys both elevated together to make something magic happen.
I like that. What'd you say, Simon?
Score gone.
I forget. It's 6 a.m. So you missed it live and I missed it live too. So now I have no idea what words came out of my mouth.
You just talk. No lights are on upstairs.
I'm just going. Until 7 a.m. Until 7 a.m. Central Time, there is about a 3-second window where I remember the words that came out of my mind last. And then they're gone. Then I have no idea what's happening. That's the worst. Like when you're in like an argument and you're really tired and like you sit there and you're like, I know I'm mad, but I can't remember why.
Tired.
Like I'm not sure why I'm mad, but I really know I was, but I can't remember what you said that pissed me off now. And you sit there, you're like, do I let it go or do I just worry about what I was mad about for the next 10 minutes?
I just had something like that. Something similar happened the other day where I had a dream where I was like playing baseball and I got called out at the plate when I was definitely safe. And right in that moment, I woke up and I was like so mad that I got called out, but there was no one to argue with because it wasn't real. But I'm just like all pissed off. And the more I was like, I was definitely safe.
Wait, you wake up your wife. Wake up. I need to fight with someone about this.
5 a.m.
I was safe.
I was like, here's the deal. I was on third 2 hours. it was a rip up.
The game was on the
line. Can you believe it?
God, that's the worst when you wake up from a dream and like you're still having an emotional reaction to what happened, but it's like 3 a.m. and you're alone. And it's like, I'm not sure what to do with this right now. Like, am I supposed to just go back to sleep? What if I get transported to that world? We had some questions come in the YouTube chat. I see Ricky in here. What's up, Ricky? Ricky wants to know who are we playing at tight end this week for the Kelsey managers? Kelsey on bye this week. Coop, you got a good waiver wire bye week fill in for our boy Ricky?
For Ricky, well, the first thing I would say is that if Cade Otton is available and Cameron Brate is still out, like Cade Otton once again played virtually every snap, which he did in week 5 as well. And in week 5, he caught 6 or 7 targets. This week, he caught 4 or 5, and they're playing the Ravens, who, you can, as a tight end, you can score against the Ravens. That's the Thursday game. So if you can get Cade Otton in there, Cameron Brate has he got a concussion before, and then he sprained his neck. So he's got some issues going on in this area here. So he might not be ready to go for Thursday on the short week. I would look to Cade Otton first as a guy that should be available in a lot of leagues. Other than that, I'm going to have my updated tight end rankings out today. So if you follow me on Twitter at CoopAFiasco, I just got to hammer down some final research, but I'll have the full rankings up there for the rest of the season. But that's a guy that I'd start this week right off the bat.
After Coop gets hammered, he'll have the rest of his tight end rankings, is what I believe he said right there. So make sure you're following him on Twitter. You got about an hour, I think, until Coop's absolutely hammered. Z Money in here asked us Olave or Dameon Pierce as their flex. JL, are you starting Olave or Dameon Pierce in your flex?
Let me pull up their matchups real quick.
I have Olave is playing against the Raiders. That's at home. Over under on that game is 47.5, so should be a decent scoring game. And Dameon Pierce gets the Titans. That's at home. That's a 40-point over under. So maybe not.
Dameon Pierce for me. Tennessee Titans their defense has not been great. Definitely, I mean, not against any position, but definitely not the run. I'll go Dameon Pierce.
What about you, Coop? Are you going Dameon Pierce as well?
Yeah, my rule of thumb generally is if I can start a safe running back, then I go that way. Olave, he's been good, but not mega star level. So I'm going with the safe play, Dameon Pierce.
I see another question in here. They wanted to know, they're trying to upgrade their wide receiver options. So it looks like maybe trying to trade away a running back, but the running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert, James Conner, Jamal Williams, and Henderson Jr. in an ESPN league.
What up, John? John Doe.
What's up, John?
If that is your real name.
John, I'm going to be honest. The one running back here that I think is going to have some trade value is the one I don't want to be trading away if I'm you. Christian
James
McCaffrey.
Conner. Oh.
Christian McCaffrey. I'm not sure you're going to be able to really upgrade at wide receiver, trading away James Conner, Jamal Williams, or Henderson. Maybe Jamal Williams. Depends how managers in your league feel about the DeAndre Swift injury, about his role whenever he comes back. But Jamal Williams, if you're going to move one of these guys, I guess would be the guy for me. But I'm not sure how much he'll get in return. I'm not sure it'll be worth
Henderson?
it.
Here, my quick thoughts on this group are that you're not going to get full value for James Conner because he's been hurt, and you're also probably not going to get full value for Darrell Henderson because people aren't really factoring in that Cam Akers is just MIA.
For whatever reason, people won't trade for Darrell Henderson. Right. I learned this firsthand in Dynasty.
If they didn't have a bye week this week and everyone saw him being the starting running back with no Cam Akers, then they probably would. His value would be higher, but right now it's not as high as it should be. Coming
out of the bye. This is Darrell Henderson's schedule: San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Arizona. Oh, that's tough.
So maybe do trade Darrell Henderson, but I think Raheem Mostert's probably the guy that's easiest to trade of that group. He just played on Sunday Night Football. He looked good. He's the guy. So but just make sure you get good value back because of that group. He's in your starting lineup for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the trade value charts from our friend Alex. I was curious what Jamal Williams was going for, and it looks like the wide receivers in that range: Terry McLaurin, Allen Lazard, Rashad Bateman. Would you guys trade Jamal Williams for any of those three players?
Yeah, I would trade for Rashad Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the other one?
Allen Lazard and Terry McLaurin were the three players.
Oh, I trade for Terry McLaurin too.
Yeah. Oh, we'll trade for Allen Lazard.
McLaurin.
I don't think.
McLaurin, Heineke likes McLaurin a lot. We talked about it yesterday where, so we now have if you count yesterday's game, we now have an 18-game sample size of him being the starting quarterback, and he has thrown 131 targets to Terry McLaurin, which is, over 7 targets a game, which puts him on a pace of 120 to 130 targets in a full season, which is exactly what you want from a wide receiver in this world, in this economy.
Yeah. I think Allen Lazard of the three is the one that I don't want to say most excited for, but probably the one I'd be most willing to make that trade for. He's the one doing it right now, right? He's played one less game than some of these guys, but on a points per game basis, he's he's scoring the most fantasy points on a weekly basis. Allen Lazard is in this offense. So maybe I'm just a little bit higher on Lazard, but I would trade Jamal Williams for him over there.
I'd trade Jamal Williams for any of those guys. He's an expiring asset, right?
I also see
he's a pretty high value backup running back. So I if Swift's injury lingers, I could see Jamal Williams having value throughout the season, but it's dependent on that injury, which is I think to your point, Coop.
This season, man, unless Kenneth Walker was on your waiver wire, like this has been such a bad season to hold on to your fab. Like even when I thought like, oh, okay, maybe we get Michael Carter as an awesome ad, they trade for James Robinson. Like there hasn't really, besides Kenneth Walker, if he was there hasn't really been like that one player to just drop 100 on, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Because that's rarely a wide receiver, right? But we've seen some wide receivers that have been worth picking up, but not one that you drop all your fab on. Right. Running back wise, right? It's Kenneth Walker. Right. I'm trying to think of the other big ad.
Past years, there have been wide receivers like that, like Justin Jefferson. You know, when he broke out as a rookie, he wasn't owned in every league, right? Heath Tails, you think I meant this year?
No, someone just sent me a screenshot of me on YouTube on the Better Sports Network, and the thumbnail is me making this face.
Do that again, Jail, one more time.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, that was hot.
Now I'm going back to screenshot this one too. So we'll have two of them.
Perfect.
That looks like like you put a little bit too much hot sauce on your nachos last night and you're sitting on the toilet this morning. There was like a strain to it, but also a pain. Like a pain that was separate from the strain.
I'm gonna tweet it out.
It was absolutely hot, Jay. I see.
Get that out there.
I see Greg in the chat saying, Simon, I see a Bailey Zappe is the cover photo on the FYF YouTube here. You should do a parody of Pharrell's Happy, but make it Zappe.
Ooh, make it Zappe.
And make it snappy as well, because I'm Zappe.
I hate that song so much.
Throw the ball like you're in a big room without a roof. It's an arena. There you go, Craig. Nailed it for you.
That would have been much better like before this week, where things aren't very happy Zappe in Patriots.
They were happy Zappe for a couple plays there. They were happy Zappe for half a quarter. They were freaking out.
Happy Zappe.
Tommy wants to know, is hot sauce on your nachos slang for something? Yeah, if you have to ask, you'll never know, Tommy. You'll never
know.
You'll find out in time eventually over there. We had some more questions come in here. We'll want to know who's the better waiver wire pickup, Gus or Foreman. So Gus Edwards or Deonta Foreman?
Deonta Foreman is the better waiver wire pickup this week. Gus Edwards, we don't know if he's going to be the main guy there in Baltimore. He'll likely get worked in, but there'll be a rotation with Kenyon Drake. Deonta Foreman, it's got Chuba Hubbard, but Chuba Hubbard was injured last week. I think Chuba Hubbard will play still, but Deonta Foreman is looking to be the main guy.
Yep. The end goal is to win your league. So like JL said, you don't want to be racking up guys that down the stretch, weeks 15, 16, 17 might be splitting with another guy coming back. You know, your time to start building a championship team.
Yeah. And Dobbins is coming back 4 weeks, presumably. Right. They put him on IR, but yeah. So
did you guys see Matt Ryan's getting benched? Sam Ehlinger is going to be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Woo! The Matt Ryan era is over in Indianapolis for the time being.
Was this an Irsay move? Was this Jim Irsay?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Honestly, man, Jim Irsay doesn't do it for me. That guy's kind of he's a big weirdo, dude. He's
a bag of wrinkles.
Talk about dudes that have like, we were talking about the staircase thing earlier. Like this is a guy who had like a ex-girlfriend of his like die in one of his apartments mysteriously, and he's gotten DUIs with like a bunch of pills. Like I just don't. He rubs me the wrong way, this guy, and the way he operates this team is, I feel, the reason that they're not more successful. Honestly, there's a lot. At the end of the day, it comes back to ownership, and there's reasons certain teams are successful all the time, and certain ones are horrible all the time, and it comes back to these dudes. I think Irsay, now that I look at it, him ditching Carson Wentz after 1 year, ditching Matt Ryan after 5 games, sometimes it falls on those guys. Sorry to say it. Not a big Jim Irsay guy.
Oh, I don't know who is though.
I don't
big Jim Irsay guy.
It seems like he'd be fun to have a beer with, but I mean, I don't want him running my football team.
I don't even want to have a beer with them. Not at an Owl Brewery, not at a Giraffe Brewery, not at any of the animal breweries. I'm not having a beer with Jim Irsay. Now, JL, probably, right? This is a team that isn't necessarily doing so well, and this might get people excited, like something to just rejuvenate the fan base, throwing in the rookie. But I'm not expecting good results from Mr. Sam Ehlinger. Are either of you guys optimistic that this is an upgrade for the options there?
No.
I mean, with Parris Campbell, like he runs such low 8-aught routes that I feel like anyone could throw those. So I don't think it hurts him because he's just like hanging around the line of scrimmage anyway. It probably hurts anybody running real routes though. So Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, baby.
Boo, man. That's sad that Michael Pittman's going to be I agree with you though. I do think it's a downgrade.
Yeah.
Rough.
Maybe this kid's just a stud though. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect the 2-0 start from Mr. Zappe, a rookie quarterback coming in, but we see it all the time where maybe we get some hot starts and then things come crashing back down a little bit. I also saw yesterday that the Rams offered to trade Cam Akers to the Panthers for Christian McCaffrey. Their final offer was a 2nd and 3rd in the 2023 draft, a 4th and 5th in the 2024 draft, and Cam Akers. The Panthers took the 49ers offer instead. So they were offering a 2nd and a 3rd, a 4th and a 5th in the following year's draft, and then Cam Akers for Christian McCaffrey. You guys surprised they went the 49ers route instead, or no, not at all? Cam Akers doesn't move the needle.
I think it probably just depends on what they got. So they were offered a 3rd and a 4th. And yeah, I just don't think it was enough.
Who was trying to get Cam Akers?
The Rams. So they offered a 2nd and 3rd from this year's draft.
Okay.
And then a 4th and a 5th in the following draft. So 4 picks, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 this upcoming year, 2 later ones the following year, plus Cam Akers.
To get McCaffrey?
Pretty substantial offer. Yeah, to get McCaffrey. Yeah.
And I heard the Bills just offered a 2nd, and then when they didn't take that, they said whatever. So, yeah, team's just not offering enough, not valuing the guy high enough. I think the Bills should. I said it multiple times before. The Bills should have gone all in, gave up a first. Like, just win now, man. Your franchise lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. You can't trade for the best running back. How often can you just trade for the best running back in the league?
Not very often. Mid-season,
how often can you trade for the best player at any position at any given time? You know what I mean? Like, go do that. The Cardinals traded for Chandler Jones and he had like 18 sacks. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it works out when you just trade for the best player available.
Usually, Bill O'Brien has to be running the franchise, right?
God,
exactly.
Don't you dare bring him up. It is too early to be talking about old beehole chin Bill O'Brien.
Oh, JL, he's getting the gut punch from fans at Alabama right now. They are not happy with Mr. Bill O'Brien.
Is that where he is? He's at Alabama?
I believe so, right? Is he still there?
That's messed up.
Yeah,
go look at pictures of his
coordinator and quarterbacks coach. I've seen
just open up an incognito browser. Open up the incognito tab before you do.
That nasty chin. I've seen it.
Ricky B in the chat saying no, don't bring that man up again. Why? I'm guessing maybe he's a Texans fan over there. We got Ricky, a Texans fan.
He also wrecked that franchise, man. He just absolutely wrecked it.
Now that we're talking a little bit about Sam Ehlinger, Nick said Parris Campbell or Alec Pierce. Now that Ehlinger's taking over, Dale, Campbell or Pierce?
Good question. Let me look up.
Let me lay something out for you, JL, before you answer, because this one got a little. Then this is coming from the Parris Campbell guy. This one got a lot spicier this week because we were talking about how Parris Campbell was playing more snaps than Alec Pierce, but this week they just went full on Rams offense and had all 3 wide receivers play like every snap. Michael Pittman played every single snap, 64 of 64. Parris Campbell played 63 of 64. Alec Pierce played 62 of 64. So with that information, JL, what are your thoughts? All 3 guys played virtually every play.
I'll go with I'll lean Parris Campbell, and the reason why I will do that is the targets have been going his way. Now, that's not a guarantee, right? We could easily see that switch. We see that happen all the time. Alec Pierce could out-target Parris Campbell, especially with a new quarterback, because we don't know how Ehlinger is going to use his wide receivers. just based off the information we have, I'd go Parris Campbell, because if there's other reason, if the reason is him that these targets are going to him, right? He's getting the separation, he's making the moves, he's running the routes. Then I'd rather have Parris Campbell than Alec Pierce this week.
Yep. So where I'm at with it is pretty much the same thing. We've actually had this exact question before. It was just disguised. We had this question week like 2 or 3, and it was Curtis Samuel or Jahan Dotson. Right? It's like the same question. One guy getting all the targets running low A-dot routes. One guy on the outside getting fewer targets running deeper routes. Unless, like, if I was in a standard league, I would consider Alec Pierce because he's running like 12-yard A-dot versus 5. But otherwise, any sort of PPR, I'm 100% with JL here. Go for the targets. Guy has 10 targets. He's playing every snap, and he has 10 targets in back-to-back weeks. That is literally the formula for like this year's Hunter Renfrow or this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's a PPR gold mine right there.
PPR gold mine, especially for PPR.
Washington this week.
Yeah.
They got Washington
how often we say PP as fantasy
we say PP
players.
all the time.
Like daily, I say PP just on a regular basis.
Yeah. The other day when DJ Moore scored a touchdown, I texted you Peach to Deej.
You said Peach to Deej, and I said that Peach to Deej connection.
How often do we say PB, Peach, Deej, and Hogs on this show?
It's bajillion.
It's
daily, and it's our job. It is my job to say PP as many times as possible during a day, and boy, do I try to deliver on it for you guys.
Boy, do I try to deliver.
And we're not quite sure. We're not quite sure if we appreciate. Not quite sure if we appreciate that, but we support you in your endeavor.
It's for you. It's for you guys. I do it for you. I'm a man of you is what I am. Everyone, we are going to talk a little bit more about PPs coming up. But after that, we've got some Monday Night Football player prop draft to review and some bets to pay out on. We're going to have our friend Murf come on the show a little bit later to talk some waiver wire with you guys. And then we'll have some real talk a little bit later on the show as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla.
That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball starting to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas. Like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right.
Yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful?
It's interpretation, and that's my
Right.
problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my never muted co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Coop A. Fiasco. We're back.
I'm not muted.
We're
You
back.
muted?
Never ever been muted. Not one time. Go back. Go back through the
Okay,
archive.
What a wrong statement to say.
You know what my
Incorrect.
name means in Hebrew? Do you know what Simon means?
Liar.
It's related. This isn't just random.
Greenfield.
Jail, I said never muted. I did not lie. I was telling the truth, unless
You're right.
you want me to
You're
give
right.
up on a
Truth there?
mutual lie.
Truth
Truth
there?
there?
He just triple stamped your double stamp, bro.
It means to be heard. I cannot be muted. My name is just declaring that I'm loud at
That
all
is-
times. I feel.
Your
That
name
is
is
very
Two-
accurate.
So your name translates to be heard Greenfield.
To be heard Greenfield. I wonder what Daniel means. We can get the whole name meeting over there. Daniel probably means like sexy
Dingle.
guy. Sexy guy dingle is probably sexy dingle.
It's a
is what
sexy
Daniel-
dingle.
Here's-
There it is.
Mhm.
Here's what Andrew means. It means it says frequently shortened to Andy or Drew. It means manly, brave, strong, courageous, handsome, smells nice, warrior, good at fantasy football, awesome at Twitter. That's directly
Wow.
from Wikipedia.
Auntie Coop? Oh.
That's from my auntie Coop. Yeah,
It's
that's,
from Auntie Coop.
that's what she would say.
Also,
She
I
likes you too,
regret looking-
JL. She said so.
Hey, I like you
Simon-
too. Auntie.
shout out Ani Coop.
Simon,
Shout out
she's
Auntie
not super hot on.
What?
I'm just kidding.
You got the Darren Waller connection, Ani
She
Coop.
likes. That's right, dude. Give her your best Darren.
Speaking-
Give her your best Darren Waller smile, Simon.
Beautiful.
That was-
Bling.
that was
Speaking of
smart,
Darren
though.
Waller, Z Money in here in the FYF chat asking, time to drop Darren Waller.
Nah.
Simon, our resident Darren Waller guy.
No, I mean, like, what are you going to pick up that's better? Know what I mean? Like, I understand he's disappointing based on your expectations for him at the beginning of the year, but he's still a startable tight end. I feel like I feel like you're still playing Darren Waller. Coop, like, would you start Evan Ingram over Darren Waller? Like, is that a player you would prefer to have on your roster? He's getting the targets.
Nah, I think I'd still start Darren Waller. I mean, he's got
Right.
6, 8, 5, 5 targets. What
I'm
more
with
can you
you.
really ask for in this tight end world, you know? And the upside is it's just higher. Darren Waller is the difference between Evan Ingram and Darren Waller is they're both very fast, but Darren Waller's, 6'6", 250, 260 even, and Evan Ingram's like 6'3", 234. That's part of why Evan Ingram doesn't score as many touchdowns. I'll admit that. So, Waller, I think they're both capable of good PPR games, but Waller's a bigger threat to score at any given time. So you got to get him in there. Don't drop him.
Yeah,
Don't drop him.
I wouldn't drop him either. Let's see. We got who else do we got?
And I'm
We
the
got
biggest
Scott-
Evan Ingram fan of all time. So
He is. That is true fact. Oh, except for Simon's mom. Mama
Except Simon's
Grunewald
mom.
is a bigger Evan Ingram fan than anybody.
well, we're both
Anytime
equally
it's
big.
not even like we would say something negative. Like if we say like don't start Evan Ingram
Something
this
neutral.
week, but he's great rest of season, my mom will text me and be like, "You have to be nice to Evan." Like I'll get like text from her. It's all the local kids, him and Hunter Henry and Kenyon Drake. If we say mean things, I get texts from my mom saying like, "Don't say mean things about those kids."
Those
Did
are
you
Did you
neighbors.
see the thing that happened with Evan Ingram and Steffi Smalls on Twitter this week?
No, I did not.
Dude, Steffi Smalls, noted Giants fan and Evan Ingram disparager. I like Steffi Smalls; she's cool, but she posted a picture.
He likes Steffi too.
She posted a picture of Ingram like pointing at the crowd, and she was like, "Evan Ingram, talking trash to Giants fans." With 14 minutes left in the game, and then they lost, and that blew up. But then Ingram saw it, and he quote tweeted it, and he said, "Where is it here? Maybe he might have taken it down, but he was like, I had a perfect view of my mom and my girlfriend, my mom and my fiance in the stadium. Like, you guys are trying too hard." So basically, he was like waving at his mom and his fiance, and somebody saw the picture and they were like, "Here's Ingram talking trash," like yeah, here it is. Had a clear view of my fiance and mother in the stands. Y'all reaching way too hard. That's what Ingram said. So
that's such just like a sit down response. But I mean, you can't, if you're a Giants fan watching that and you see Ingram run up to the stands, waiver point, of course it looks like he's taunting the crowd, right? Like without a doubt, I understand why people thought that, but he was ready to go. He knew.
Why not? Why can't he taunt the crowd? Like why? I'm all for that.
If they win, then it's easier to taunt the crowd.
Well, why not? Just go for it.
So
I saw Colts fans complaining about having 5 years of QB issues, and I wanted to throw something. You had Peyton and Luck for nearly 20 years. Shut up. Shut up. Some have spent a lifetime with basically no franchise QBs. Honestly, I fully agree with Scott Fish here. And I was thinking that last night when I was watching and all those Patriots fans were chanting for Zappe. I was just like, man, like y'all are so weak. Like, you don't even know the absolute despair of not having any quarterback.
Dude, Scott, you guys had Brett Favre, man. Playoff run.
Brett Favre.
When Mac Jones threw that pick and like afterwards they cut to him, it was the most cartoonish, dejected head drop I've ever seen in my I was excited for Zappe. Like before the game started, I was like, we want Zappe. And then I saw the crowd turning and I saw Mac's face and I was like, yo, I can't cheer for this anymore. Like this is too sad. Like Mac's just shoulders dropped, head dropped, and like he knew what was about to happen. He was fully aware. And then can you imagine you're sitting on the sideline and all of a sudden an entire stadium starts chanting and cheering because you got benched. Like a whole team of rabid fans. I wish I could give credit. I saw a tweet last night. I got to find it because I'm going to give credit to the guy. It was so funny. It was like, imagine you sprain your ankle. Some kid starts 2 games and then an entire region of the country hates you. Like some kid plays pretty well for 2 games and now the entire Northeast hates your guts. Like that's what happened. Dude sprained his ankle and now they're anti-Mac Jones.
That's foosball, baby. Unfortunately, I mean, the good news for Mac Jones is even if this was his last game ever, he's a multimillionaire. So that's always nice. That's nice. But yeah, it is a high pressure situation. I mean, dude, Melvin Gordon's former team that he played for like 6 years put a clown emoji over his face on the Jumbotron this week. Like sports are ruthless, brother.
Brutal. It's part of the game. We had some more questions in here coming in. John Doe said, Hurts is my QB1. Now that he is over his bye week, should I drop TB12 or keep him as a backup on the bench? JL, are you dropping TB12 if you've got Jalen Hurts as your main quarterback? He's past his bye.
Yeah. Absolutely I am. Why keep him? Jalen Hurts is an every week start, right? There's no way you guys are benching Jalen Hurts, right?
No. Right. It would need to be a deep league where like a bunch of teams roster 2 quarterbacks. If you're like one of the only people with 2 quarterbacks, then drop them. It's just the thing with these mobile quarterbacks. You have to remember that Jalen Hurts got hurt last year. Every mobile quarterback last year got hurt except Josh Allen, realistically, like they all did. So just keep that in mind that does happen sometimes. But so if it's a deep league where everyone's got 2, sure, keep them. Otherwise, drop them.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Tom Brady isn't in that same category of quarterback that we thought he was at the beginning of the year. I had to fill in for Josh Allen last week in a couple leagues, and I made the decision Daniel Jones over Tom Brady. Like that's the category that we're looking at. He hasn't looked great. This offense looks dysfunctional. He's behind an offensive line that can't protect him. I'm not like excited about Tom Brady. I still believe he can turn it around, but I wouldn't feel too bad about dropping him to the waiver wire right now.
Daniel Jones, man, that was a good play. He was like QB like 2 this week, right? 2 or 3. He had 100 yards rushing. Yeah.
Got a little bit lucky, but he
I mean, you're kind of good at this, dude. You should have like a show.
Maybe. Except all the things that I'm bad at. You should check out my 1-11 team. 1-13 team. You know what was brutal this week? Speaking of being bad at this, I'm in a dynasty league where I was 0-6. It's not a great team. I'm going to be honest. Like it's a full rebuild. We're blowing it up. We're starting over. But this week, my team showed up. Absolutely showed up. Second highest scoring team in the league. And I played the first highest scoring team in the league, Mr. J-Wall, and a loss. And it had to be J-Wall. It had to be someone I knew.
And he won't shut up about it.
That was my 1 week of the season, and I'm not even going to get it.
Yeah. J-Wall's the best dude, but he definitely is like the kind of dude that would just like pull your pants down in front of everybody.
Oh, 100%.
That's his style. Scott Fish in the chat saying, fun fact, Brady's pressure rate this year is lower than the last 2 years. So Scott Fish decides Brady's already down. We're kicking him while he's down. Scott Fish decides to preemptively jump in the chat and eliminate any and all excuses before they're even made on Brady's behalf. Ruthless. But hey,
absolutely.
What are you gonna
Joe,
do we have some more questions in here?
Yeah, Tyson in here asking Zappe or Jones next week. What do you think, Coop?
I mean, there's a famous saying when it comes to quarterbacks, which had me concerned from the start, is that if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And I'm a little bit worried that neither of these guys are particularly good.
I thought you were going to go with the other popular saying, tossy, throw.
Huck it, chuck it, foosball.
That's a good one too.
I would, in my opinion, this entire time has been that Mac Jones should not have come back. But the thing is, Mac Jones started the game off running 3 rushes for 24 yards just to show everybody that ankle seems to be fine. So personally, I think you got to go with Mac Jones, man. Just roll out the starter, give him more time, just let him, if he struggles over a bigger sample size of like 3 more games, then you make that shift. But like switching the quarterbacks every single game, that never ever works. When does that ever work, dude? It doesn't.
Maybe
it's not
like maybe he shouldn't have run for 24 yards to start the game. That way he could have used his ankle as an excuse. Like, I wasn't quite good yet. Like,
literally
like maybe that dude shouldn't have taken off because like you just eliminated the excuse. Like you could have been like, I tried to rush back. It was a little bit too early. Ankle was really bothering me, affecting my throw. But I was like, dude, we just saw you take off. That was the best run I've ever seen you have in your career, just about. Like out there, like, what? Since when are you a mobile quarterback? And yeah,
the old wide. That's the wide receiver move, right? Like you drop the ball and then you're like, my leg. It's the leg. Yeah, but then you go to the sideline for one play and you're like, oh, wait a second,
I got the wind knocked out of me.
Good. Yeah. Classic move. Yeah, that's what he should have done.
I see Dustin in the chat. Good morning. And I'll see Albert. Good morning, Albert.
What up, Albert? What up, Dustin?
You are here.
Boys.
Fun hanging out with you this morning.
Good morning.
Got Dennis in here asking, who's your most favorite wide receiver? Good morning, Dennis. Who's your most favorite wide receiver rest of season? Half PPR, Tyler Boyd, Wandale Robinson, Garrett Wilson, Marquise Goodwin, Rondale Moore, or Robbie Anderson. Which of those guys is your favorite wide receiver in half PPR rest of season?
What a sneaky way to basically just ask us who to add off waivers. Who is our most favorite?
My most favorite is going to be the one guy here who's the number 1 on his team, or can be the number 1 on his team, and that's Wandale Robinson. I like, if you're looking upside as well, I feel like he's the play. I'll go Robinson here. He looks like he's going to be the Giants wide receiver 1 rest of the year.
Why can't Garrett Wilson be the wide receiver 1 for the Jets?
You're right,
Jets.
But I like this Giants offense a little bit better the past couple of weeks for the receiving options, so that leans it towards Wandale Robinson.
That's the big, true.
I'll go Wandale Robinson. Also, Garrett Wilson is very interesting. He's probably the next one on this list that I'm intrigued by.
Yeah. So to put in perspective, with the reason I was adding Wandale Robinson last week. I wasn't starting him this week. He only played 15 snaps last week. This week he played 53 of 76. So not quite leading that team in snaps. That was Marcus Johnson, but he's ramping up, baby. So Wandale Robinson's season is here. I think I have Robinson first and then Garrett Wilson second. Don't add Marquise Goodwin.
Nick in here, Nick Peroni asking, you think I could get Travis Kelce for Lockett, Everett, and Darrell Henderson? His owner has DK. Travis Kelce for Lockett, Everett, and Darrell Henderson.
If you can do that, then do it immediately. Tyler Lockett is definitely some sort of banged up a little bit. He bounced back this week. He's ready to go. He's pretty solid, but Gerald Everett is a fully expiring asset, in my opinion. Like, he's got a bye week this week, which immediately takes a little value from him. And then Keenan Allen is already back and will be fully ramped up by the time the bye's over. Like, I'm not, if I need to add a tight end, I'm just dropping Gerald Everett, to be honest. So if you could do that trade, do it right now.
Yeah, I would make that trade. I don't know if it's going to get the job done, but that's one of the ones where it's like 3 players who kind of add up to the value, but this doesn't quite feel great if you're on the side getting the package here. So if you're on the Travis Kelce side, go for it.
And you never want to be on the side that doesn't feel great getting the package. We got our good friend joining the show right now, guys, coming up to help you guys answer some fantasy football questions and talk waiver wire. We got our boy Murf joining the show. Man,
from across the pond.
Love this dude. I can't wait for Murf to get on here.
Now he can grade Coop's English accent.
Hey,
Murf,
hey,
our buddy.
What's happening? I had to put the hat on for JL because it's Thursday.
I love the hat
coming up, so I thought, I can't have it be Sol representing Ravens.
Yes.
Also, there's a hat club going on here. I don't know where yours is, JL. You got to put one on, surely.
I know. I need one. Here we go.
Get in the hat club, dude.
Get in the game. It's Tuesday. Tuesday's hat club.
Tuesday hat club. I like it.
Hat club.
Go, dude. Let's go.
For everyone watching, for those of you that do not know Murf, get with the program. Murf is the man. But you can find Murf on Twitter at Murf_NFL. He's a correspondent over at the 5 Yard Rush and the creator of the Warrior Bowl. Murf, this is exciting for me to have you on. I love hanging out with you, and hopefully you can help us out with some of this waiver wire stuff. It's confusing this week.
Absolutely. Be a pleasure. I'm looking forward to this. It's a busy week, and especially I was saying on my show last night at 5 Yard Rush that the next 2 weeks for me, if you're at 4 wins or below, this is like moving day, Saturday at golf majors. Like, this is the point where your whole season flips these next 2 weeks. And if you get it right on the waiver wire and you pick up 2 Ws, you're right in the playoff mix. Get it wrong, you might as well pack it up and go home for another season.
Yeah, his make or break time.
I don't know why. I got like goosebumps when you said that. I was like, it's crunch time. Like, I got hyped up, Murf, when you said that.
The accent that tends to do it, but yeah. We'll go with it.
Made me think about like the handful of teams I have where we're just packing it up. We're just we're on to next season.
So whenever we're talking about those players that could help you like secure your season, win rest of year, I think the big names this week are probably the 2 running backs over there on the Jets. If James Robinson is still sitting out there on the waivers, Michael Carter, James Robinson. That news broke yesterday. How are you feeling about that situation? Is either one worth rostering, worth starting, or is this just messy now?
I'm a bit gutted if you had been stashing Michael Carter and then all of a sudden you see the Breece injury. And of course, it's a terrible injury. You don't want to sit here and celebrate injuries, right? But you're sitting there thinking like, okay, now I've got this bona fide potential league winner just to come into my roster now and take over. And then straight away they ship a 6th round pick to go and get James Robinson. And I don't think for me, James Robinson's an immediate threat. I think in the next few weeks, I'd feel pretty good about Carter. So if in that 4-win territory and I've got Michael Carter, I'd feel all right to get some wins now using him. I worry about long term. So I think it's going to take a bit of time. We saw it with Christian McCaffrey this week. Granted, a bit of a less time. I think it's going to take a bit of time for James Robinson to get going, but I do think he does eat into this share probably a week, 2 weeks in. So I think this week you feel pretty good about Carter. So, and I think if you're Robinson owner, I mean, you're probably feeling pretty rough because you've seen his usage completely tank this week. And then now he's gone to a situation where you think, not a great offense. I mean, like, as much as Jacksonville isn't an elite offense, at least they move the ball quite frequently. And you've got Trevor Lawrence, and you got some hope that those situations can get better, competent coaching, etc. And on the Jets, do I feel really good about Zach Wilson taking my team down and getting in the end zone a lot? I just don't. I don't feel good about it. Like, I just think if you're a James Robinson owner, I think I'll try and sell him now on this news and try and sell great hope.
This season has I'm just imagining how many 0 RB teams out there drafted Darrell Henderson, James Robinson, and after week 1 and 2 or week 1, they were like, we did it! 0 RB is the truth. And then just a swift kick to the nuts as these guys lose their starting jobs.
Just like George Bush out on that battleship with the mission accomplished sign. Right? And then the war goes on for another 10 years.
The reference. I think it's super. I think I wrote a piece up on 5 Yard Rush this week about the decline of elite running back performance, and we looked at the peak of it being 2018, 2019, and that let's go get our running backs. You've got to draft running backs early and often. yeah, it's not panning out now, is it? The last 3 years have been rough. And people, and listen, I put myself here. I'm going to own this L massively. I used all the excuses under the sun. Oh, it's COVID. You can't really take that as a one-off. Oh, okay. Well, last year there was unprecedented injuries. Like, it's never going to sustain at that level. Now, who in the first round are you feeling really good that you drafted? Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
the one. Yeah. You know what it was? You know what it was, Murf? We were getting there. We were getting there, and everyone's like, it's got to be 0 RB now. We got to go there. And then this is like 2019, like your schedule was talking about. Yeah. And then Alvin Kamara came out and scored 6 touchdowns championship week. And everyone was like, did I say 0 RB? I meant hero RB. Right. And that kind of dragged us back into this like running back. But had that never happened, then we probably would have made the shift a little sooner, I think. But yeah,
that was one of my favorite championship weeks ever. It was just my matches. Like I had them in both the championship matchups I was in, and they were just done on Thursday. I won. I didn't even have to stress the rest of the week.
I had him and Stephon Diggs in a dynasty league, and they scored 9 touchdowns. The kid was like, "Are you kidding me?" The other kid was like undefeated too, like until that game. Yeah, I was like, it was like 1 o'clock. I was like, game over.
That's where you would retire from fantasy,
right? Yeah.
You're undefeated, and then you lose. You lose.
You lose to a kid. 2 of his players scored 9 touchdowns. So it's such a crazy game we played. Yeah.
I don't know what's better from like a. Yes, it's cool to tell that story when you're on the winning end, right? But then it feels a little bit like okay, we get it, you want, but like on the losing end, you have that story forever as like a pain moment. You know what I mean? Like yeah,
you think about.
You get sympathy from like you bring that story up, and everybody's like, no, like for you for the rest of the time.
You would have never heard that story if I was on the other side of it. that one would have been kept right here in the vault with all the sad stuff. That would have been the icebox where my heart used to be. That's where I kept out that story if I was on the other side.
We had a question from a Lamb Cup in here, a waiver wire question I wanted to get to. Murf, maybe you can help us with this one. Wants to know, should I pick up Taysom Hill or Greg Dulcich to play during Everett's bye week? Would you be playing Taysom Hill or Mr. Dulcich in that tight end spot to fill in for the bye?
So I'm sitting there and there's always context to every question, right? So I'm going to give a flip-flop answer like I'm a qualified politician, which given the rate the UK is going through prime ministers at the moment, I'm probably up in about 20 months' time to be PM. So I'm getting practice now. If I'm winning, if I'm projected to win my matchup and I look strong, I'm playing Dulcich, right? Because I don't want to take a complete donut at the position that Taysom Hill's going to potentially give you. So Dulcich is good, especially in a PPR league. He's going to be good for 10 fantasy points, right? It's a nice safe floor. He's not going to shoot the lights out or anything. But if I'm in a matchup, I'm like projected to win by 15, 20 points. I'm just going to put some stability in there. Don't give my opponent the opportunity to catch up. If they win with an elite 6 touchdown performance, you got to just go to bed on that, and that's fine. But don't score an own goal here. If you're on the other side of that and you're losing by 15, 20 points, then I'm taking Taysom Hill because Taysom Hill can have that ridiculous 3 touchdown game where he could throw one, catch one, and run one in, and then all of a sudden you're taking 25 points at the position. But it is literally feast or famine with Taysom Hill. So that there's context to the question because, like for me, in a matchup where I feel pretty good and I'm gonna feel good about it, I'm taking Dulcich. But yeah, if I'm chasing points, I'm Taysom Hill all the way because I just think you've got to shoot for the moon at that point.
Murph, 100% on board with that. And think about boxing, right? Like if you're winning this boxing match, there's no reason to try and throw haymakers and leave yourself open to like the knockout, right? Like, but if you're back against the rope, blood in your eyes, you're the one that's got to throw the haymakers. So that's where I'm throwing Taysom Hill in and anybody else crazy that I can just to try and make something happen. So I'm fully on board with that. If you can play it safe, play it safe. If you got to go crazy, then go crazy and start bringing Taysom Hill, dude. Oh my God. I know, bro.
Unless you're done. If you're proven the chaos anyway, just like for fun. You're not going to win me, so just bring the chaos.
Have fun. He's proven me wrong every goddamn step of the way, though. It's like at first I was like, don't start him. And then he scores a touchdown, and I'm like, well, he's just a random rushing touchdown guy. Then he comes out and throws a touchdown and scores 3. And then I say, well, you know, I can't compare him to the other tight ends because he only has 1 target on the season. What does he do? He comes out, catches a touchdown. Like, it's like this guy's sole goal in life is to make me wrong every step of the way, dude.
I love
Drives
it.
me insane, bro.
I love
I'm
it.
with you. There's two things I'm done commenting on. Start sit questions for Taysom Hill and are the Giants good? Because I'm just consistently wrong every single week. Like every week I'm incorrect on those two things. Like even whenever I say like, yeah, plug Taysom Hill in, then he goes out and he's got like 3 carries for 27 yards and 1 completed pass for 11. And then you're like, huh, I guess like this is the Taysom. Then you're looking at yourself like, why did I start the player who's only playing 8 snaps? Like what on earth did I think whenever I made that decision? And then you bench him, and then you're right, Coop. Next week he's just going to do it again. He's out there. And he's like,
I tell you, the Giants are 3-point underdogs again, bro. With Vegas, there's definitely some like guy that like number cruncher out in Vegas. They got him on the top of a casino, just holding him by his tie, and they're like, one more time. If you were wrong about the Giants, one more time,
holding him by his tie.
Live camera over to that guy.
It's like, even I swear, the dude's like, I swear, the Giants are frauds. They're frauds.
They're not
dude.
good.
Yeah, like the famous last
got
words.
no one
dude.
to throw to.
Yeah, that guy's gonna end up in the bottom of Lake Mead with cement shoes on, bro. Because these Giants, dude, they are not losing, bro. They don't lose, dude.
You know what? It was so funny, right? Because I went to watch the Giants here in London a couple of weeks ago against the Packers, and a mate of mine who I was with, Jack, he's a avid Giants fan. He hates watching them because they've been so bad for years. He's like, it just infuriates me. Like he hates Daniel Jones. He struggles to watch him. I was like, don't worry, you'll be good today. You're going to be trailing at halftime, but it will all work out. You'll be fine. And then we were surrounded by so many Packers fans at halftime. They're all so giddy. And I was like, I don't know what you're giddy about. You're going to lose this game. And they're like, no, the Giants, they're not going to lose. This is Green Bay's Aaron Rodgers. And I was like, listen, we'll talk in like an hour and a half. And I'm telling you now, the Green Bay Packers, if you like, you were so comfortably in control of this game and you've let the Giants back in, no team in the NFL is better at fourth quarter adjustments than Brian Double and the New York Giants. Like if you just give them a sniff in the fourth quarter, they're going to take it. You know, this is sniff. They're like the Homer Simpson of boxing. They're just going to take all the punches, and then when you're tired out, they're just going to push you over. That is the New York Giants. I can't think of a better like
right after that game. You should have gone to those dudes and been like, you know, go on Amazon, search 5-yard rush. You can get all the rest of my if you want any more of my information, because I mean you just donk on those guys.
They were from spending £60 on those stupid cheesehead tats. What context for you? That's like $70.
Well, hey, dude, the thing is, it gets more expensive over there because it's imported cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? I can only comprehend prices in terms of Doritos Locos Tacos. Approximately how many Doritos Locos Tacos is that?
I don't know what that is because we're not cool.
That's fixed.
Okay, there's this thing, right? It's called an ocean. It's between us in countries, and not all things like what you've just mentioned. Sounds cool. Like I'll give it a go. Don't think we'll go. Like this way. Like the only decent burrito you can get is one that you make at home with an instant burrito kit, Old El Paso. That's literally like as far
Murf,
as.
Didn't you used to live here?
Yeah, I did. And we're getting Taco Bell now.
You're like, yeah, I know what Doritos Los Tacos.
So now he knows.
I'm speaking for my countrymen.
Well, actually, I don't know what Doritos Los Tacos is. I'm assuming it's something to do with Mexico.
It's a taco, and the shell is made of Doritos. The shell is just a Dorito, is what.
I've never had one either. I had no idea what it was.
Sounds pretty American.
And I live on this side of the water.
I mean, yeah, it does. It sounds like classic. Right, I'm going to definitely come over there and enjoy one. You've got to remember that when I lived in America, I lived in Orlando. It's not a real place. Like it's
not. I'm so sad that was your experience with America. That's really unfortunate.
You live in literal cartoon land, dude.
Yeah. I had great fun. I mean, imagine living just down the road from a place called Celebration, where literally it was designed by Disney, so there'd be no crime. I mean, like it was cool. I had a great time. But yeah, I wouldn't say like. Luckily, I drove across the US and I did most of the states in a back of a Bronco for 4 months. Like that was
fun. That's fun, man.
But yeah. So I have done real America, but yeah, living mostly in a fake place.
Absolutely. We had another question in here I wanted to hit on. Joey had another tight end waiver wire question for us. Another Everett bye week question. Said Jawan Johnson or Harrison Bryant for Everett's bye week. And For Harrison Bryant, just for everyone listening, David Njoku is out for the next, I believe they said 2 to 5 weeks with an ankle injury. So Harrison Bryant could see an increased workload. Murf, which one of these guys would you be adding, Juwan Johnson or Harrison Bryant?
Yeah, I think, again, you're kind of in this situation of where are you in your matchup. But no, I think Juwan Johnson, just because he's done it, right? He's done it. He's coming off a big week. There might be a change at quarterback. That might change the situation slightly, but come on, do you really want to trust Jacoby Brissett throwing your tight end? And like at the end of the day, I just don't, as much as I think that schedule opens up a bit, I think actually the biggest beneficiary of David Njoku going down is going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones. And that's what we saw on Sunday. When he went down, it was Donovan Peoples-Jones who got increased workload and is in the borderline flex conversation this week. I like Harrison Bryant, really liked him when he came out, thought he got a great ability, great catch radius. He's a big body tight end. Might be good for a touchdown or bust play, but yeah, give me Juwan Johnson. He's been there and done it this season.
I will say the quarterback change might actually be better for Juwan Johnson. It was Andy Dalton was the one that was thrown to Adam Trautman. Adam Trautman's out with a foot injury anyway, but first 2 games of the season, 5 targets and 7 targets for Juwan Johnson. And he's also, this is a converted wide receiver who plays over 75% of his snaps at wide receiver anyway. So yeah, give me Juwan. Give me the upside of a guy that he's running his 8 eyes. Like the last I checked, I didn't check it out this week. The last I checked, it was like 12, right? So we're talking real big boy routes here. So I'm with you on that. Juwan Johnson for me. Might as well go big if you're going to be going with these like off-brand guys.
Yeah. Whenever you said like there's a quarterback change, for some reason my mind immediately went to, wait, they're going to start Dobbs? I was like, the Browns are starting Joshua Dobbs. When did I miss that news? Like I know Jacoby Brissett hasn't been great, but that seems like a bit of an overreaction. Like what's he going to do? Make you 2-6 with a different quarterback instead of 2-5 with the same guy you've been rolling with? So I'm glad I got on the same page here.
I would have thought they would have gone Kellen Mond for that.
Yeah, I think they could have gone Kellen Mond as well. I forgot they signed Kellen Mond over there on the Browns. Yeah, maybe we get some Mond action in there as well. We've got some more questions in here. Z Money said, I've got Kenneth Walker, Pierce, Mixon, and Singletary. Am I set for the rest of the season, or should he be looking at the waiver wire? Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Joe Mixon, and Devin Singletary. JL, you like this core of running backs? Oh, man. And while JL's unable to be heard.
Whoops. Say them again.
Dude, you just said you'd never muted yourself, and that was not even 10 minutes ago.
I'm dealing with some technical issues right now. We're down on BSN. It's fine. What were the names?
Kenneth Walker.
You got to fire your tech guy, John Luke.
Yeah, JL, get John Luke out of here. Go get a new tech guy. Maybe John L. Just
can't handle that
keep
mute
changing
button.
The abbreviations.
John, jail's tech guy, John Luke, is in charge of one
all
button.
The time now.
He's in charge of one button, and he can't handle it.
I'm gonna leave my mic unmuted now, and you guys are gonna hear all the farts. So,
JL, did you ever?
If it bothers you, take it up with Coop.
I think you need to listen to the inspirational and motivational song about Joe, who works at the Button Factory.
I know that song, and I wish not to hear it at this moment.
I do think you need to go check that one out. Just to kind of like get in the swing. Listen to Joe's story. It's actually incredible how many buttons he's able to
Maria
push.
sings me Joe's story all the time.
The running backs, JL, were Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Joe Mixon, and Devin Singletary. You feeling good about that squad, or are you looking to upgrade?
It's a solid squad. Yeah, it's a solid squad.
I'm with Coop. Yeah, who are you upgrading to? I'm with you, JL. Solid squad. Murf, anything you'd be looking to change about this squad? Or are you happy with it?
I'm going to be really controversial here, and I'm going to go out on a limb, right? I'm going to trade Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon. I'll tell you why. I really don't. If I'm sitting there with that squad, right? Joe Mixon has been sort of getting by with touchdowns. The usage hasn't been good. He's been saving it with touchdowns. That's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable model for the rest of the season. It's just so many things about Mixon right now you've got to be really careful of. And if we're getting ahead of things, he just has not been running the football as well as he has. I mean, like, he's breaking at the moment 0.9 yards after contact. Like, that's terrible. Like, it's legitimately these are the names who have got better yards after contact than him. CJ Ham, Rex Burkhead, who's like 100. even Eno Benjamin, Boston Scott, who's never been known for shiftiness, Matt Breida. I mean, these are all with better yards after contact numbers than Joe Mixon. That's one thing. Let's look at his playoff schedule, fantasy playoffs, because with that roster, you're thinking playoffs, right? You're thinking about it. In the fantasy playoffs, Joe Mixon has the Buccaneers, the Patriots, and the Bills. You tell me, maybe adding Tennessee in there, worst run defenses that you can play against.
Yeah,
like
that's rough, man.
Like, while you're getting a player who is not putting up great production numbers, is hiding it with touchdowns, you can trade him on name value. He's still in the RB1 conversations at the very low end of it. If you can get yourself a decent replacement level running back, maybe one who's already had a bye, or maybe one's about to have a bye, and you can get it through quickly, and then an additional wide receiver threat. Like, I'm loving that right now. I think if you can get yourself a 2-for-1 deal, you could take a step. Like someone like Miles Sanders, for example. If you can get Joe Mixon for Miles Sanders and a wide receiver, you got to do that trade right now. Because with what your squad and what you've got at running back, you're going to be much better off with that, and you'll have more balance. Because I take it, if you've got all those players, you're probably pretty weak at wide receiver.
When your yards per contact is 0.9, is the stat even still called yards per contact? It's more like almost yard per contact that he's running for, dude. That is rough, dude.
That's rough. So bad. I mean, he's lucky that his yards before contact is 2.4. Otherwise, he would legit have under 3 yards a carry. Like he's just over that threshold now at 3.3 yards per 3.3 yards per carry. I mean, that's bad.
Do you think there's a world now, or is it too late where you could turn Joe Mixon into Josh Jacobs? Trade Joe Mixon, get Josh Jacobs. Too late. Windows passed. It's gone. Yeah.
I think
that's the player I'm looking at.
But I think you can trade Joe Mixon for Miles Sanders, and I'd be snapping with something else. If you can get Miles Sanders with, I don't know, Tyler Lockett, maybe DK Metcalf, and you're sitting there on the injury for a couple of weeks, I'd probably do that. I'd probably sit there and go through it, because also you've got Miles Sanders' buy out the way. He's just had it, so you're getting the extra week at production at running back anyway, because you don't have to deal with the buy, and then you can get yourself a useful flex or better option in the receiving game. I'm definitely taking that. I think that's how I'm trying to play. I don't have a lot of Joe Mixon, but if I did, that's how I'd be playing it. Trying to get a 2-for-1 piece, take a slight trade down, because I think that he's going to be borderline RB12 to RB15 rest of the season, Joe Mixon. But in the playoffs, he's going to kill you. He's going to absolutely kill you. We've seen this story before, and that's if he gets there. He's got an injury history. I'm thinking, get out while you can still sell him for a decent asset.
I was incensed at first, but you made a pretty good case there, Murf. The playoff schedule is really the kicker, because that is brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's as bad as it gets. There is no running back right now with a worse playoff schedule than having those 3 teams and Joe Mixon. So, yeah, again, if you're sitting there with 3 wins and below, ride Joe Mixon. His in-season schedule is pretty decent, and you hope it turns around. But with the way that Tyler Boyd's adding to this offense right now, I just think Mixon's just not good. I can't see a way that unless he gets in the end zone, and that's saved him the last 2 weeks. And if it saves him for the next couple of weeks, fine. But I think for me, this is the last week you can sell Joe Mixon at the value he is right now.
Yeah, people probably aren't looking at Miles Sanders with the value they should, but both these guys are averaging 17 carries a game, and Miles Sanders running for almost 5 yards a carry, which is what he has done for his whole career. And Joe Mixon's at 3.3 yards per carry. So not as crazy as some might think, dude. You're basically getting yourself out of a bad situation and getting a wide receiver on top of it. So I like that. I don't think it was controversial when you first started talking, and I was like, this guy's dumb. And then towards the end of it, I was like, okay, yeah, trade Joe Mixon. So
yeah.
Well said.
There you go.
Well said, Murf.
This is what I do. I just go out there on a limb, and sometimes I fall off the cliff, and sometimes it crumbles underneath me. But that one time it works, I look like an absolute evil genius, and it's great.
We're victory lapping, baby. Let's go. That's what it's about. Yeah.
We had another question in here that I wanted to get to. Half PPR, 8-team, 3 wide receiver, 3 running back league. They wanted to know about the trade Stevenson for Higgins. The running backs right now outside of Stevenson are CMC, Fournette, Jacobs, and Sanders. They've got Jefferson, Lamb, and McLaurin, and DK at wide receiver. So trading away Ramondre Stevenson for T. Higgins. Murf, you making that move?
Smash button.
Yeah.
Instant. Especially with who you've got at the position. I'm smashing that. I couldn't smash it fast enough.
Damian Harris is back, dude.
Absolutely.
Fun times are over.
Joe, you doing this? You doing this move?
Yeah, absolutely. I am. I see. Good morning, Lucius. Said, would you rank these receivers rest of the season? Debo, T. Higgins, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. What do you think about this, Murf?
Oh, that's a good one.
Full or half? I think full or half PPR actually changes my answer.
Yeah. I think
Let's do full.
Okay. I'm just putting my ranks up. I should have probably prepped them. Rest of the season.
The full, yeah, because especially Amon-Ra St. Brown, the format changes the way I value that player specifically drastically. PPR is his best format. So
yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to have to put Higgins bottom of those three. And I think Debo's close. You know, I think we haven't seen the impact of what Christian McCaffrey is going to have to Debo's rushing game. We naturally assume that's going to go in the toilet, and if it does, that brings Debo in line with what I think T. Higgins can. I'd have Amon-Ra St. Brown on top. I think once Swift gets back, we look like that'll be this week, and that offense goes back to being quite potent. Give me that. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. His role's completely locked. You got no DJ Chark anymore. Like, there's not that. He's got no competition. He's got no, and that, you know, they move the ball. It's the best offense of except for the Bengals. But the Bengals, Higgins has got all that competition. He's not getting in the box. He's not getting in the end zone as much. And I think that will be the differentiator between the two. And Samuel, yeah, he needs that rushing upside for him to be a top 12 fantasy wide receiver with Jimmy G there. So, yeah, I'd probably go. Yeah, at this point, I am really close on Higgins and Debo. I'd probably have Higgins last, but in a week's time, I can easily see myself shifting and putting Debo underneath Higgins. But Amon-Ra St. Brown would be at the top for me. That would be no doubt.
No concerns about the return of Jameson Williams. I know it's still up in the air if he's going to play this season, but that doesn't affect this for you.
No, because DJ Chark's down. They've got no one else there. There's plenty of targets in that offense to go around. I think you got to remember, right? They're not really in a playoff contention spot here, so they're going to move Williams along slowly. And I think the plan was always this year was get him a few games, get him used to the speed. He'll be on a reduced snap count probably when he comes back, 50-60%, and then maybe by week 17 he maybe gets an 80% snap count. But they're not going to work him too hard because what's the point? Like, you're not playing for anything at this stage if you're the Lions, and the coach is under no. He's not on the hot seat here. He's not playing for a job. They know how bad that team was when he took over, and he's definitely taken it a step forward. So I think they just bring him along slowly. And Jameson Williams for me was always a 2023 pick. This was just get through the year, see what we've got, evaluate Jared Goff. Do we need to go quarterback next year? And I think that was the purpose of it. So, So I'm pretty comfy with Amon-Ra St. Brown being top of that tree.
Jared Goff has never been one to be afraid to throw it to the low hanging fruit, whether that's to dump it down to Cooper Kupp or that stretch where Tyler Higbee had like 10 targets every game for 5 straight games in 2019. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is always going to be right there for him. Murf, before we let you go, I'm actually coming over to your side of the pond. Got my honeymoon coming up. If possible, if you're anywhere, are you anywhere near London, or where are you out in the UK?
So I live in Northamptonshire, which is the middle of the country. Now, unlike the US, that sounds like a mission. It's actually about an hour on the train.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm going to be out there. If we could link up for a beer, that would be dope. But
mate, give me some dates. Let me know when you're around. And and we'll make something happen 100%, man.
Awesome, dude. Now, I have to ask you, I'm only going to be there for a couple days. What is, of the touristy stuff, we got to do the touristy stuff because I've never been. What's must do, and what can I kind of skip if I have to? Like, so obviously I got to take a glimpse at the old Big Ben clock and all that. But like, so what do I, in your opinion, what do I got to do? And if you have anything like that's like kind of under the radar that you think is a must do, what do you got? What do you got for me?
The good thing about London, right? It looks like on TV this absolutely massive city. In truth, you can pretty much do everything in a day. In terms of sites you want to see. So, like, if you want to get to the House of Parliament, Big Ben, and then Buckingham Palace, and then get across to the London Eye and all these tourist attractions. You can do all of that stuff really quickly, and I can help map that out for you and how to get there and all that sort of stuff. It's not a big city, and with the tube and the networks and rail and everything, you can get around the city very, very quickly. It's not a laborious task. So I'll take it offline with you. I'll give you some places. I'll also recommend a couple of sort of touristy, but not like ones you'd find in the guidebook per se, places that you've got to go and especially some good eateries and good drinks. And if you're around like for a weekend, for example, like a Sunday, and you want to go catch like Red Zone, for example, I'll tell you the bar you got to go as well to go watch that.
Let's go. That's exactly what I was hoping for. That's why we brought you on, really. All that other waiver stuff was just this. That was the important question. I was just trying to trapdoor you. I was trying to trapdoor you into playing in my London trip. Yeah, so I appreciate that, Murf. You're the man, dude. Tell everybody what you got going on right now. I will tell everybody where they can find you and what you guys got going on at 5 Yard Rush. I know you're always doing stuff over there.
Yeah, I mean, always doing stuff. We're very lucky that we have a great set of guys and girls who write for us, and a great group of people. So for me at the moment, I'm just really concentrating. I've written nonstop for about 2.5 years, so I kind of took a break from that this season, and just concentrated on just the audio and video content, which is nice to be a nice break for me. I wrote a couple of articles, but I'm kind of not pressurizing myself to do the weekly waiver wire grind. I do that on the podcast. So giving other people a chance to do that. So we've got some great writers and podcasters. So we've got Rich at Dynasty Island. We've got the FSA Tweets, which is Liam, and they do the Dynasty Show, which is on Tuesdays. You catch me and Dan on the flagship show on Mondays, and we break down a lot of strategy as well as also a lot of player trends. I do a matchup show on a Thursday, so I look at all the games and name every fantasy relevant player and where I've got them in my ranks and how I'm viewing each fantasy game. And then, you can catch all the guys on our network and girls at 5yardrush.co.uk or 5yardrush.co.uk for all the great articles. They're putting loads of injury stuff out. Podcast feed is 5 Yard Rush. You can find it on all networks. We've got Pitsy and Rob and Lewis, and they do the Fast Action Fridays. If you want a quick 20-minute view before you set your lineups, you've got that covered. We've got the DFS show with Mark and Nick and George. So we've got loads of stuff going on, man. It's always busy. And then in the off season, I'll probably go back to writing for Fantasy Pros more frequently. I was on their show yesterday, was blessed enough to go on there and talk waiver wire. And I thought, hey, double up. Let's do waiver wire with Front Yard and Fantasy Pros in the same. I'm looking for. I was buzzing to come on. I know I got asked a couple of weeks ago when I was on holiday. I took a little break in the season because I figured.
Because why not?
Because why not write as much? I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this and take 4 days away with a kiddo. So that's what's going on. And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Murf_NFL. DMs are open. Drop me a message. I am pretty crap with start-sit questions. I just tend to forward you to my rankings. But if you want to talk the kind of Joe Mixon strategy stuff, that's the stuff I love. If you want to talk about how your roster can get better, send me your roster. I'll give you some ideas. How to make some decent trades. That's the stuff I'll give you all the time in the world for. Start-sits, I'll give you a link to my rankings. Some lazy.
Murf, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today, my man. Always a pleasure hanging out with you. And like Murf said, guys, go and follow him on Twitter right now at Murf_NFL. Much love, Murf. Enjoy the rest of your day, my man.
So much. JL, hope the birds go down on Thursday, but no offense. Like, we need to win badly. But I love you anyway. I love you all. Your show content's great. Anytime you want me, just pick up the Twitter machine and I'm there.
Hold you to it, Murf.
Thanks so much, Murf.
Yeah, me. We'll sort out London.
Oh, I'm in there. I'm already in there. I'll talk to you, buddy.
That's all, fellas.
Guys,
that's all for Tuesday.
That's all for Tuesday. Just kidding. Guys, we are having some technical difficulties, so I just want to let everyone know we are about to drop. The show's going to continue, but if you're watching on YouTube, you may have to refresh and click on a new video on our YouTube page on Front Yard Fantasy. There's going to be a new video for you to click on. So we are about to drop from this one, but we are going to get it back up and running very shortly. So keep on the lookout for that video, and we will be back in a moment. We'll see you guys soon.